everyone. I'm here in Country Park with our guest, Attorney Licelle Cobrador. Hello, Attorney.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Hi, everyone.
Attorney Licelle Cobrador has over 10 years of experience in immigration and nationality law. She is currently Executive Vice President of the Filipino-American Legal Defense and Education Fund.
So, Attorney Cobrador, please tell us about the update on the Dreamers under the DACA program after the court had ordered for its continuation. So what's in store for the Dreamers these days?
Okay, so right now, the Supreme Court decided that the termination of the DACA program was unwarranted, and just recently there was an implementation of the Wolf Memorandum. And what does that mean? So this means that those who are initially filing for DACA are not becoming accepted anymore, but those who are renewing their DACA, they could still renew and get the work permit. But the difference is it's now valid only for 1 year, not 2 years as the previous rule had.
So what does that mean for the young people, the Dreamers? Is that putting them on limbo, on hold?
Unfortunately, for those who never applied for the DACA, their applications will not be processed right now. So the hope is there would be legislation that would give them a path to permanent residency and citizenship. It's still, right now, it's still with the House of Representatives. There's the Dreamers Act. I mean, there's been many versions of this. It started in 2001. But right now, the House Bill 2820 is still with the House of Representatives.
So as a lawyer, what can you advise the Dreamers on what to do about this? Like it's an on hold kind of situation for them, uncertain.
I must say that the solution lies with the legislature. If the House of Representatives bill gets to the Senate, then there's hope for the Dreamers. So what we can do is to mobilize and encourage our politicians who are in power so that they can endorse this Dreamers Act, right? And ultimately, we really need immigration reform, an overhaul of the immigration system. And as Dreamers, they could have a voice to speak to these representatives. If not, I mean, they're not going to vote, obviously, because they're not citizens, but they have their own networks, right? They have their own spheres of influence where they can express how they are actually serving the country and how they believe that America is actually their home. And it is. This is the only home that they know. And there are certain states that allow for Dreamers to, in fact, study, practice their profession, get license, and still thrive despite these challenges.
Now tell us about the implication of President Trump's banning of work visas, specifically to Filipinos.
So this is the presidential proclamation that was implemented during the pandemic, right? So the presidential proclamation covers work visas, and the ban is for those who are still abroad. So if you have not received your work visa and you're still abroad, you cannot get that visa appointment and enter the United States as a foreign worker right now. So
will that include nurses?
There is an exception, health workers and those assisting in COVID and the quelling of COVID-19.
So, Attorney, tell us the impact of this proclamation to our economy.
Okay, so the presidential proclamation banning work visas impacts the economy in a way that the employers' anticipated start dates for these workers who are fulfilling certain requirements, programs, duties that have specific start dates will not be satisfied. So there is an impact in their companies, and there must be an impact to the U.S. economy at large.
Please tell us, where are the immigrants positioned in our society here in the U.S.?
Sure, immigrants are in various fields in the United States. So one glaring example is entrepreneurship. There are immigrants who started businesses and different innovations, especially now during the pandemic. One of the most important materials we have is using Zoom, right?
Yes.
An immigrant started Zoom, and in fact he had to try many times to get his visa. So one more field is the healthcare field, right? A lot of immigrants also serve in the healthcare industry. Teaching is another one. First responders. In fact, I have a client, he was a Sherpa and he was an elite mountaineer. He helped in rescuing those who are trapped in the avalanche. They needed those kinds of expertise, and the expert mountaineers are in various parts of the world and they are ready to help America. Another field is engineering. Another one is finance, and of course, science and technology.
Amazing. So I can see that the impact of immigrants are enormous. Why is the president banning much work visas to the U.S.?
So the influx of foreign workers for the president would mean that they will be making use of the healthcare system. They will be taking American jobs, and that would highly impact the U.S. economy during a pandemic.
I see.
That's what the rationale is for the proclamation. However, it's also a balancing of interests.
What do you mean?
Elections are coming up, right? And it's one of the best ways to marshal your supporters, to encourage votes, is to say that you are putting America's interests first. And one has to be critical, though, examine it further. Does banning foreign workers really help America?
What are your insights about the immediate future of the U.S. and immigration cases here, immigration situation here?
Right now, we really need to evaluate our choices. Our choices in leadership, our choices in government. Executive prerogative really impacts immigration. So who we elect into office will really impact immigration regulations. And we should let our voice be heard.
Thank you so much, Attorney, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is Marivir Montebon for Issues and Insights here in Gantry Park, New York.